Hey all, John Ramdeen with you here on this glorious day, and this is Fight News Now Extra, your daily dose of mixed martial arts news and notes. Robin Black will join me shortly to chat about some of the sport's most interesting topics. And the news today, a former UFC champion contemplates a move down in weight, the UFC inks a couple of exciting fights involving the little fellas, and a fight legend finds a new home in MMA's #2 organization. After suffering a devastating TKO loss at the hands of American Ovince St. Preux, only 34 seconds into the main event of Saturday's fight night card in Brazil, former light heavyweight champion Mauricio Shogun Rua has hinted at a possible move down to middleweight. The Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt made no mention of retirement and will focus on his upcoming stint as coach of the Ultimate Fighter. The UFC returns to the state that gave birth to the organization, and the promotion has promised a couple of thrilling tilts involving the smaller weights, as ATT representative Cole Miller takes on the young talent Max Holloway at 145 pounds. And former Bellator champion Zach Makovsky returns to take on the always game Tim Elliott when the two collide at 125 pounds. The event to happen in Colorado in February will also feature Canadian Chris Kalidas squaring off with Ray Borg at flyweight. And last but certainly not least, former Pride middleweight champion Wanderlei Silva will be sitting cage-side at the upcoming Bellator event taking place this weekend in San Diego. The axe murderer was invited by the promotion to join legends Randy Couture, Frank Shamrock, and Royce Gracie to meet fans and sign autographs. The main event of Saturday's card will feature Ultimate Fighter 1 alum Stephan Bonnar battling Tito Ortiz. Joined by Mr. Robin Black, Bellator having their big show this coming weekend, and we talked about it in the past. When it was first announced, it'd be Tito Ortiz and Stephan Bonnar and that botched promo. Were people going to be excited about this main event? And the answer is yes, they are. Believe it or not, old school fans, new fans, they think the matchup is intriguing, and they have to see whether it's a train wreck or it delivers fight of the night or fight of the year.
Yeah, I get together with a bunch of friends. When you're in town, you always come. My buddy West Coast Dave, Jen, John, and West Coast Dave, well, usually I have it at my house or here at the network, but sometimes Dave has it. He sent out a Facebook message to the group.
Normally it's the UFC.
Yeah, oh, 100%, like 97% of the time. And he sent out a message to the group that just said, hey guys, I got Bonnar versus Tito at my house this Saturday, who's in? That's really weird to me. Didn't even mention Hunt versus Verdum, and that gives you some insight into where people are at and what they're looking at. Personally, man, I can't wait to see Hunt versus Verdum, but yeah, people are into it.
Wanderlei Silva sitting cage side at that main event. He faced off with Tito Ortiz for the light heavyweight championship of the world, so he knows Tito Ortiz very, very well. But you have to wonder what Scott Coker's angle is. Why bring in Wanderlei Silva? Yes, it's about, it's about putting butts in the seats. It's trying to get as many fans to your fan fest or whatever it is as possible. And Wanderlei Silva is one of those guys that always attracts attention. You go to any of these expos, Wanderlei Silva is normally top 3, top 5 with the biggest lines at the event. Does Scott Coker now say, okay, how do we make it work for Wanderlei Silva to get reinstated by any athletic commission and get him fighting for this organization? Possibly a rematch with Tito Ortiz, a rematch with Quinton Jackson, a possible bout with Melvin Manhoff or Stephan Bonnar. Wanderlei Silva could do very well and do big things for the Bellator organization.
Yeah, and the first thing that they need to do, they've just accomplished. You're talking about it. Yeah. You are talking about Wanderlei Silva possibly fighting these guys in Bellator. That is step one. Get people going. Bellator, Wanderlei Silva in the same sentence. We're doing it right now. But also, they make a television program. Yes, that television program has fights in it, and that is one of the primary draws. But in that television program is a camera, and there's Wanderlei Silva waving. There's Wanderlei Silva talking and cutting promos, maybe insulting guys that he can't even fight because he's suspended and has a contract with their rivals who ain't never going to let him out of it, ever, ever. So you can involve him in all manner of ways that don't include him fighting, and that benefits the Bellator organization. We're talking about it right now, so it's working for them. But I don't think you're going to see him fighting anytime soon.
Do you think that Coker would make the call to say, look at Dana, I decided to let Eddie Alvarez go. He wanted to go to your organization and make some money. Why don't you return the favor? Wanderlei Silva doesn't want to compete for you. We're going to get all this situation sorted out with the commission. Can we have your blessing to take Wanderlei Silva?
Go f*** yourself, Scott.
Is that the way it would turn out? Dana White telling Scott Coker, there's no way that we're going to give up Wanderlei Silva because he knows the value of Wanderlei Silva. He knows how competent Scott Coker is and that he will utilize this guy properly.
Oh, yeah. He ain't never doing that. You look at these things and they're businesses. They're big businesses that are run by the bottom line. When we look at it, I'm going to say our pet. I look at my dog, Pluto. That's a cute little dude. And sometimes I put emotions into him. I'm like, look, he's so happy. Oh, look, Pluto's so relaxed. He's just a dog. And businesses are just businesses. Sometimes we get this idea that they're these benign things that care about entertaining us and stuff. They're big businesses. Their bottom line is make money. And the way to make money is, to, among other things, is stop you from taking my stuff and stop you from using it to take eyeballs and take my money. Oh, yeah, Dana White is telling Scott where to go if he calls him up. That's for sure.
Well, obviously the purpose of bringing in Wanderlei Silva, one of the biggest names in mixed martial arts. This is a huge event for the Bellator organization, but they have to do what the UFC did with the Ultimate Fighter. It's the Trojan horse. Let's trick people and then build this thing and turn it into what it has become. But this is Bellator's their opportunity to say, yes, people are going to be watching for Tito Ortiz and Wanderlei Silva. Michael Chandler, Will Brooks, you have to steal the show because it's their responsibility to build stars because Wanderlei Silva and Tito Ortiz aren't going to be around forever.
I agree 100%, and they can do that. And the Trojan horse analogy is perfect. Do whatever you got to do to get them watching. Oh, it's something about Wanderlei, maybe, and Tito. We get them watching, and then sell them on the other stuff. But again, as a business, the UFC has to look. The thing that matters and shapes business is the bottom line. The UFC has to look, do we lose business by many of our older stars turning their back on us, denouncing us, and going to our competition? If they don't lose money, it doesn't really matter. But if it starts to hurt the impression and the money that's being made, they're going to change the way they treat their fighters.
And just the idea of Wanderlei Silva facing off with all of those guys, I think would be big business, but there's no way that Scott Coker is going to risk anything. Wanderlei Silva is there to do a job. You pay him for his appearance. Hopefully we get all these things sorted out, but who knows if that will ever happen. But Bellator continues to do big things. Their event coming up this Saturday in San Diego. For Robin Black, I'm John Ramdeen. More Fight News Now Extra is still coming at you.